Welcome to a brand new episode of the Post Game. I'm your host, Davion, and I'm joined by Ollie
Yo,
and Elijah.
You.
How we doing, y'all?
great.
I guess Elijah's doing great too.
Doing good.
I'm doing pretty good too. We're back Premier League match week 8 because we had a cancellation of week 7 because of the Queen passing. So RIP to the Queen. Just send our love to all the family involved and stuff like that. But yeah, match week 8. There were some more cancellations this week. Manchester United versus Leeds was postponed. Chelsea versus Liverpool was postponed, thankfully. Brighton and Crystal Palace were also postponed until later dates in the season. So we're going to start off talking about Aston Villa and Southampton. Aston Villa won 1-0. Southampton has been a team. Well, what's y'all's take on it? Unless y'all want me to start.
You can start off.
Whatever you was about to say, it sounded like you was probably gonna say something like me. Like I was gonna say that Southampton, the type of team to like start off or look like a good team or look like they are something this season, and then boom, just straight up, just not showing it at all, and like losing games that you think that they should win or would win. So that's what I was pretty much say about that. And then same for Aston Villa. Aston Villa started off looking shaky and scary, but Aston Villa is a team that has the players and has the potential to be a solid team, but it's just both teams to me is just the same. They're inconsistent.
Yeah. I mean, I'll match that point. But I would also say that, in the Premier League, every single game is going to be a hard game, especially when it comes to those middle of the table teams, that 7 to 14, that's all those games and all those teams are so interchangeable. And so I think Aston Villa, they are especially a team who, coached by Steven Gerrard. They are a team that last season they were a top team in the Premier League. Not top as in top 4, obviously, but they were a team that you have to look out for and that you just couldn't take easily. And so, Southampton has beat Chelsea this season. They've beaten Chelsea. They've beaten. That's about it. They just beat.
They beat Leicester, but Leicester is terrible.
But they beat. They beat Leicester, but Leicester is not a team
really terrible right now.
But it's funny how they can beat Chelsea, 2-1, and I know they only beat them 2-1, but they dominated Chelsea for 60 out of the 90 minutes. And so, if they could play with that sort of tenacity and have that drive for all 90 minutes every game that they play, I think they beat other teams. They beat Wolves, because they lost to Wolves as well. And I feel like a lot of these games that they are losing, 1-0 to, is if you can produce something at a higher caliber that you have, then you'll be fine. But Aston Villa getting the 3 points in this game is I definitely think I know it's good for the Villa fans. Next up we have Nottingham Forest versus Fulham. Fulham won 3-2. Fulham, man, they are still showing you that they deserve to be in the Premier League and they are a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, they have a great striker.
Yeah, can you say his name?
I'm not pronouncing it, but
Militrovic.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm still not that.
But
yeah. I mean, Fulham's a good team, though. So, I'll expect that from them to expect them to beat, Nottingham Forest, even though it was a close game. But, they came out with the win. So, hey.
Yeah, Nottingham Forest, man, they go out and they buy 21 players in the window. And it's you can't do that Like you can't buy so many players or get so many players in one window and expect your team to be good. That's just not how it works. That's just not how team chemistry works whatsoever. And for them, I feel like they're gonna lose a lot of games because there just is no chemistry. Um, this Paulinho, Fulham's one of their center mids. He scored just a rocket of a goal, and I think this team, Fulham, is like they know their purpose. They know what they need to do to be able to stay in the Premier League, and this is them doing it. And they're going to continue to, be a competitive team every single game. Except we have, excuse me, Wolves versus Manchester City. City won 3-0.
This is Ollie game, but I do want to. Did you watch the game, Ollie?
Of course.
Not before I say something.
Yeah. No, you go ahead.
Did you see what that? Did you see what that dude did to Drake? Grealish kicked him right in the his groin area.
Yeah.
He got sent off.
He did, and that was the downfall.
I mean, Grealish scored what scored
the 30 seconds,
quick.
Like 30 seconds of the game.
Yeah. I mean, it was beautiful showing. I mean, it makes it easier. Obviously, once they get a red card after we're already up 2 goals. I mean, at that point, we're just coasting to the end. Great to see Erling. It's great to see
he's
Holland.
On fire.
Yeah.
He scored every game. I don't. He scored every single game, right? Correct. Yeah, every game in Premier League, he scored a goal. He has. Yeah. He's on a streak right now.
Yeah, and I mean, Champions League. I don't know if he scored in the first. I think he scored every game he's played in at this point. Maybe, well, not counting preseason, obviously, but like this season, he may have not scored in maybe 1 or 2 games so far. But the thing is, like, he's not touching the ball much, but he doesn't really need to. And Pep is really trying to figure out how to make that top 3 work because slightly different game, but in the Champions League game, he had the wingers inverted. So shooting wingers, but it's like I feel like if we're gonna have shooting wingers, we should have Alvarez in there. We need to feed Haaland the ball, like feed that man. I'm talking like crosses. We're getting crosses in late, but like in that Champions League game, we had no crosses to him, maybe 2 in the first half, and it showed. And then the second half, they turned it on. So I mean, it's just again seeing how Pep is maneuvering these lineups is still very interesting. But I'm really liking what Akanji's been doing. He does what needs to be done. We're not asking him to do much. Stay back and pass the ball. Get the play started. That's all we need you to do. Okay, and don't make mistakes. That's it. And so far, he's played pretty well. In every game he's played, he hasn't really made too many mistakes. So it was definitely good to see that.
So you're saying that Haaland isn't getting the ball much, but isn't it crazy that like that could be a statement? Even though
he's still doing this good,
but he's still scoring so many goals.
And what I'll say is, if you look at the stats and his touches per game and things like that, there were 2 or 3 games where he has scored a goal or 2 and only had about 5-6 touches. He doesn't need to touch the ball much, which is amazing. But I'm saying we need to get more crosses into him because like his timing on his runs and things like that are just superb and just perfect. So I don't know. And I'm saying earlier, because again, like as the game goes on, like in those games, what Pep did last time, he switched out the wingers so that they would be more conventional in swinging and having their dominant foot on their outside so they could cross it in. But it's just like whenever we have Grealish out there, we're not expecting Grealish to put in great balls to the middle because he's on his weak foot, So that's just the thing. But finding out how to maneuver that with all the players we have, because obviously Haaland isn't the only good player we have. Like we have talent up and down the starting 11.
Like your whole starting lineup is good.
Yeah,
and I think Kevin De Bruyne is perfect for that.
Yeah, he is. And I mean,
he creates your team. I'm going on. He's a big key of your team. I'll say that. He's a key
for sure. For sure. He is the key currently.
He's the key, yeah.
because with him in the game, you have to worry about if he's going to pass it, if he's just going to bully you and just run right by you. Then we have Phil Foden, who is a mini De Bruyne. So it's insane. But we'll see. I mean, De Bruyne's been really trying to force feed Haaland, with some of these through balls, and you have to, because eventually the defense is going to make a mistake. And Haaland times his run so perfectly that even if we mess up and, De Bruyne doesn't get the greatest through ball in, or the ball doesn't get to Haaland, we're going to try it again. So it's a good formula going, but I would like to see us being able to hopefully get the ball in Haaland's feet a little earlier sometimes, to let him work in the like at the outside of the box, let him do these turns that he's capable of doing, things like that. But obviously what we're doing is working for the most part. It's just against, better teams, like, top 4 Premier League teams and Champions League. That's what I'm looking for. So I know I'm being critical of a team in a 3-0 win, but I mean, you have to be when you're chasing greatness.
I mean, when you're a team like that, it's always good to remind yourself that we haven't won Champions League, but Chelsea has.
Yeah, I would like to say a statement. It's not a bold statement. It's my opinion, but it's not bold.
Go ahead, then.
What I would like to say is, for this, so far, it hasn't ended yet, but so far in this season, Haaland is the best striker in the world right now.
I would say him and Lewandowski.
I know. Him and Lewandowski, yeah. But I will take him over Lewandowski, just because, like y'all always said, Premier is the better league, right? Better league, right? And for him to score consistently, and you wouldn't expect that from somebody coming from, Bundesliga and coming to Premier and scoring like it's nothing. So I would just like to say that.
I got some respect towards Premier League from him.
Oh, it only took us 3 years. Actually, no, it took us a lot longer than that, probably 6. But yeah. So I don't remember the last time we left off at and recording, but Chelsea. I don't know if we.
Let's talk about it, Chelsea.
So Chelsea sacked Thomas Tuchel about 2 weeks ago now, 3 weeks ago.
How you feel about that?
So I think. So Chelsea sacking Thomas Tuchel was hard. It was definitely hard. This man's brought so much winning to our club, and honestly he genuinely cared about it. And I was reading some reports that he was literally pleading, that they gave him one more chance to continue to win games. I think it was it was early, the sacking, but it was necessary. When new ownership comes into any sport, any club, like anything, any business, they always want to appoint their own bosses, their own managers, their own whatever the case may be. And I understand why, they let them go. They wanted to try and see if it worked. I was told that Todd Bowl, he really wanted, Ronaldo, and Tuchel was like, no, he will come in and ruin our locker room. And so I know that's where they separated. I mean, that's a big point when they separated. And then I think him losing a lot of games for Chelsea, that Champions League game was a big one. That really, took us over the edge of firing Thomas Tuchel. I'm really sad to see him go. He's definitely one of my favorite managers that we had at Chelsea.
Gave y'all Champions League and everything.
Yeah, the Champions League against what was it again?
City.
Anyways, the thing about the Prem, like you don't. It sucks because, well, this is kind of the issue with an issue with soccer in general. You don't have time because there are 2 leagues that you will get relegated to if you're at the bottom. They don't care how big of a name you are. They don't care what big name players you got. If you're at the bottom, you're at the bottom. And it sucks because, some of these coaches do not really get a fair chance to try to work the team out for the year because it's only been 7. Like Chelsea, and they're still top 7, so it's exactly. Like it's not time to freak out and be like, okay, they're going to get relegated. That's not the problem. Obviously, being a big name club, you want to make Champions League as many years in a row as possible, right? That's the goal. So it sucks, but with the way that, in my opinion, soccer is already, and with the new ownership, again, in any sport, new ownership doesn't help, as you said. They want their own people, they want their own guys, and not amazing success so far. So I mean, it sucks, but in soccer, I saw it coming. There's a few more coaches that are definitely coming weeks on their way out. Just not as big name clubs, so they're not as worried. But I can see a few more coming soon.
Oh yeah, Lester's gone. I mean, he's
his coach. Yeah, they definitely. I don't know what's taking them so long.
Well,
he should have been
international
gone.
break, and so they're like, but he's definitely. I think
I feel like
they got smacked these past few games.
Thomas, they should have gave Thomas a little longer before sacking him.
Oh, they definitely,
because it was too early for that. And then second, he didn't even really get a chance to really get a good lineup because y'all was also still bringing people in. So they didn't even give him a chance to work with the new people he had. They just instantly sacked him after that Champions League game y'all lost to, which is understandable because y'all should have never lost to that team, but still it's too early to do that. And like with Leicester's situation, how is he still in? They losing 6 in a row and they still got him. He should have been gone.
So there's like different clubs and different ownership. This is brand new ownership to a very expensive club. I understand, like me and Ollie said, but you want your own guys, you want your own managers. Yeah. Also, like when it comes to managing, like being a coach, a year and a half max. I feel like it's like that's like the time frame. If you're not somebody like your Jurgen Klopp, Pep Guardiola, some of the best managers in the world,
they will let you slide if you have a bad form.
You can get fired like that.
And that's what I was saying. The problem with soccer, because in football they get 3 years, hockey they generally get about 2 to 3 years. Pretty much every other sport you get a few seasons, but there's no lower league that you're scared to get relegated to. Like there's no way you should have this amazing extravagant stadium in the second league. What? So they're like, your time frame to do good is that first 2 months. Okay, if your team isn't doing good in those 4 major clubs, again, I'm talking about your top name clubs. Like even Everton's coach, they're down in 13th. Obviously, he's winning, or they haven't really lost, but they're not winning. So he's okay for now. But like, they're not going to tolerate that if they keep slipping. There's a time limit, especially when you're dropping games. Like he wasn't even really dropping games, but with as me and Davion pretty say, like with that combination of new ownership and the time limit, the time restraint you get in Premier League or in soccer, it wasn't going to last long.
I have a question for you, Davion, real quick.
Go ahead.
The question is, because you said that they pretty much had a disagreement about the Ronaldo situation. Do you think Ronaldo would have ruined your team?
Yes.
Okay.
100%. He's well. The thing
is, he'll ruin any team he go to.
Exactly. Any major player will, and that's not. Exactly. It's nothing against them. It's just when you have a name like that. Like everyone, obviously, you're gonna have a lot of players that love them, but I mean, just look at Mbappe and Messi. I've never really heard too much bad being said in the locker room about Messi, but when you have a lot of divas, especially with 2 big names like that, it's gonna be a problem. And when you have one good player and a bunch of players that are like not as good as him, everybody's just he's gonna play. Like
but it's more of. I'm pretty sure they having locker room issues, but nobody don't really talk about it that much as him and Neymar. I think Neymar and him are the main ones that really go at it the most.
I think the big problem is Mbappe. I think he's a very arrogant.
It is Mbappe.
And you give a 22-year-old or 20, however old he is, 23, you give a young kid $500 million
and ownership of the club
and complete control of what the club does. Of course, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And so, and I think when it comes to a Messi, like I think he's an exceptional talent and an exceptional personality in a locker room. And if Chelsea was offered a chance to get Messi, I would rather bite at that.
I think Messi's more nice and more humble than Ronaldo is. Ronaldo's nice as well. No, because I heard good things about Ronaldo. Ronaldo's very, very nice, but he's arrogant. Yeah.
He's very arrogant, man. Yeah, I mean
that's the only thing about him. Messi's not arrogant with it, so Messi's
5 Champions League, 6 Ballon d'Ors. you can pick any team you want to go to for the rest of your life. And so, but yeah, that's our. Oh, so and our new manager that we've appointed, Graham Potter. He's had a really good track record. He was right
Brighton.
now. Brighton is in fourth place right now in the Premier League, and he's But I think I understand this, that Potter, his goal isn't Chelsea. It's not to run Chelsea for the next 10 years. His goal is to be the manager of England, and that's his goal. That's what he wants. And I think after the World Cup, if England does not look how they need to look, he will be appointed month afterwards. Maybe I think realistically, I think Potter will be here until the end of the season. End of the season, because I think
Oh
England.
yeah, I think I might stick with him.
Because England really wants Graham Potter, and he really wants to go to England, and he will be their next manager, in my opinion. And so, don't know what that looks like afterwards. But yeah, man, I like the guy. I hope he can really figure out what Chelsea needs to do to be better and back to successful winning. But until then, heads up, and let's just keep it going day by day. But not Crystal Palace, Newcastle versus Bournemouth, 1-1 draw. Isak has came in and has been a difference maker for Newcastle, but I really think that they are really trying to figure out their footing and their team and everything, because right now they just can't get their foot over the line. And that's where they are struggling at right now. For they had 20 shots, 7 on target, 70 possession, but they only scored 1 goal. You have to get more goals in the back of the net than that. You have to. Bournemouth, I mean, they held on to steal a point from Newcastle. So good for them. Good for them. But next up we have Tottenham versus Leicester City. Tottenham won 6-2 after going up 3-2 in the 50th minute.
So what a hat trick.
Heung-min Son came on in the 60th minute, something like around that gap, and scored a hat trick. And I'm not talking about an easy 3 tap in goals hat trick. I'm talking about 3 worldies, and this is so important. And only great players like this can do things like this. He has been in the news recently for just not being able, for just being inconsistent, and he's been criticized. I'm not criticizing him on his inconsistency, but he's been called inconsistent. He can't finish anymore. He's just not there. And then he comes in as a sub and score a hat trick, 3 bangers. It definitely shuts everybody up, and it lets everybody know I'm still that guy who can come in and score.
But you know what? People gonna be haters at the end of the day. People gonna say, "Well, that was against Leicester. Let's see more." So
They definitely will say that, but at the same time, I
think he's a great character. I think he's a great player. It's just great players have their bad times.
Yeah,
so.
It's a cold spurt. I mean, and that's what he's going.
Yeah.
That's what he was going through.
And sometimes the best thing for you is to get a hat trick against a trash team.
Yeah.
You see the ball going to the back of the net on good shots. Again, it's not like these were just trash shots Sterling
these are far out the box.
So
shooting
exactly. So shots like that, even against a team that's at the bottom, it still gives you that boost of confidence that he may need going forward. So I mean, who knows? Maybe he'll be able to say, "Okay, I do still got it." Because things like this, people talking. Players can say whatever they want. You see the talk, and it can get to you, especially in soccer where, in these sports where you're not always on the ball. It's not literally you versus him. You got to get everybody else involved, but still produce yourself. You can get it in your own head. You have somebody right behind you ready to take your job. So, it's a lot of pressure. So hopefully, he'll get back on his feet. No one is expecting him to go away anytime soon. Maybe not, stay there eventually. I'm not saying right now, but maybe that might be what he wants or needs. But right now, I think he'll work his way back into the starting lineup. Of course, next game. Hopefully he'll be able to show that he does belong there still.
Yeah,
for sure. Next up, Arsenal versus Brentford. Arsenal won 3-0. Elijah, this is your team. Arsenal, man, they are still proving to everybody that there's a reason about their number one. And this game showed. I mean, they're showing their they're showing their full strength every single week, and they're showing exactly why they are a big deal. I mean, I know they lost to Manchester United, but I feel like they are definitely moving in the right direction, and they are at the right direction. They're leading the group right now by 1 point, with 1 point gap behind in front of City, Tottenham, and then yeah, and so looking at these guys, looking at this Arsenal team, because Brentford, in my opinion, are one of the better teams in the Premier League as well, and they can show up on any given day. Go ahead.
I do want to say something because I know a while ago, our last soccer podcast, I don't know if it was you or Ollie, or probably you, because you be chatting, I'll find it.
You be chatting.
Y'all was saying that it was a fluke. And I was saying that
Arsenal?
Yes.
I don't think
you said that they went straight was a fluke.
That.
You say you think it was a fluke.
Find it.
I will find it. I will.
Put it right here. Put it right here.
I remember the conversation, but I don't remember how it went. So
I remember the conversation too.
But I knew for
and you was like, "Do you think it's a fluke?" And I was like, "I wouldn't say it's a fluke yet, but we will see." They played a pretty good team. I'm not gonna say we are the best team, but they played a pretty good team, and they just lost to a good team. So, Arsenal's still a pretty solid team. And like you said, I pretty much agree with what you said. They still showing or trying to show that they deserve that number one spot, or they deserve to be that top team in the Premier League. So, yeah. But I'm going to find that video because I could have swore you said it's a fluke.
Listen,
it's a fluke.
You know to clip it. And if he finds it and clips it, we will put them on our social media, like all the other clips go. Sadly, that's where all my my old dirty laundry's at. But yeah, so moving on to the last game of the week, Everton versus West Ham. Everton got their first one of the season, this week. Good for them. These two teams are just
they did.
They did. This is the first game of the season that they won.
Oh, they've been drawn a lot. Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
Good for this team. Good for Frank. I know you were talking about managers and what Chelsea used to have, and you remember we had Frank Lampard, and then we sacked him, and then brought in Thomas Tuchel, and then won Champions League, all in that season. And so I think that it's just it all wraps around each other. I don't know what West Ham's going on. I don't know what's going on with West Ham.
What you think about West Ham?
Like 1 week they are scoring goals and they are looking like the West Ham from mid-season last year, and their lineup looks great. Like there's nothing their lineup is something that I would put out the same exact lineup. But there's something that's not clicking for them right now, and until they figure it out, they will be in the bottom of the table. Because I think right now they're 19th, which is it's a scary place to be in. 18th.
Yeah.
And so you gotta really watch out for that and try to find your feet like soon.
Wolves got up out of there by 2 points.
I think Leicester will probably drop y'all.
I think Leicester's getting regulated this season.
Leicester,
I don't see them coming back
and
get it out. I don't see them coming back and get, unless a miracle happened, if they sack their coach and a new coach come and just change that whole team around and just start doing good. But right now, so far, and I know this might come back on me, but they getting regulated this season. That's what I'm going to say.
I mean, it's easy to say that right now when they're
right now, right?
When they're 6 points out of clearance, so.
They definitely have the lowest goal difference.
Mm-hmm. So it's gonna be hard for them. It got to be a miracle to happen for them to get out.
Yeah, but if you made this, yeah. I mean, if you ever have a comment about anything that we just said, please leave it. We love reading your comments and we love laughing at some of the things that we say. But yeah, man, Elijah, Ollie, thank y'all for joining today. I have been your host, Davion, and this has been the post game. Peace.